Former President Jacob Zuma will return to the High Court in Pietermaritzburg tomorrow. This is for the corruption trial against him, in which he has entered a not guilty plea. Now, the trial has been marred by delays, which include Zuma's special plea to have the lead prosecutor, Billy Downer, removed. We also saw the presiding judge, Piet Koen, recuse himself. To give us more background to this case and what we can expect tomorrow, senior reporter Siphamandla Goge joins us from Pietermaritzburg. It's almost 2 years, Siphamandla, since former President Jacob Zuma pleaded not guilty. I mean, can we finally expect this long-awaited arms trial to finally resume?
I doubt if that will be the case. Tomorrow we are most likely going to get another postponement. That will not be surprising. It's something that is to be expected if you take into account that there is a new judge presiding over this matter now. So in January, Judge Piet Koen recused himself, saying he does not want this corruption trial to be tainted by what many people may perceive as strong statements that he may have uttered when he was handing down the judgment on the matter of former President Jacob Zuma, and also his remarks when it comes to the issue of the private prosecution of the state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, by former President Jacob Zuma. So based on that, he said, hang on, let me just step back, give this matter to a new judge who will come in and take it to the trial process, which technically it's underway as we speak, because the former president has pleaded not guilty in this matter. So he has already entered that plea and he has pleaded not guilty. So technically we are underway, but in terms of getting witnesses to the witness box, that's where the challenge is, because there are still other matters that need to be ventilated. So what we expect to happen tomorrow is that we will hear from excuse me, we will hear from the presiding judge, and that is Judge Nkosinathi Chili, who took over from Judge Piet Koen, who has been seized with this matter for a very long time. Our viewers would recall that Judge Piet Koen is the one who dismissed the former president's special plea, where he wanted the state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, to be recused, or rather to be removed from proceeding with basically prosecuting this matter. The former president is alleging that Advocate Billy Downer is compromised. He's got a personal vendetta against him. He will not get a free and fair trial if Advocate Billy Downer is the state lead prosecutor in this matter. So tomorrow we expect Judge Nkosinathi Chili to come and tell all the parties what will be the way forward to provide leadership and guidance in this matter. Remember, he took over in January. He needed time to familiarize himself with the case itself. It's not an easy case. It's been going on for more than a decade. We are approaching 2 decades now with this matter. So any judge that takes over this matter will need to familiarize himself with the background and the context and the historical past of this matter. So from January to April, that's where we are now. Remember also that tomorrow's date was initially agreed upon by all parties. I'm talking about the state, the defense, and the then Judge Piet Koen, to say trial was meant to resume tomorrow. But with the latest developments of Judge Piet Koen recusing himself and Judge Nkosinathi Chili taking over, it's highly unlikely that the trial will resume. But also in the mix, you add what the former president's legal team said when he appeared last time in January, that now that the state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, is accused in another matter of private prosecution. He is being privately prosecuted by former President Jacob Zuma. They will most certainly be bringing another application now to Judge Nkosinathi Chili to say, hang on, when this matter was proceeding before you took over, we applied for this special plea. We wanted Advocate Billy Downer to be removed. That was unsuccessful. At the time, our client had not decided to privately prosecute him. Now he's being privately prosecuted by our client. Therefore, we are bringing in a new application to you to say Advocate Billy Downer is being privately prosecuted by the former president. Please listen to us. This is why we feel he cannot continue to prosecute this corruption trial, because he's accused in another matter, which is a side issue in this regard. So tomorrow we are likely likely to get the progress report from the former president's team as to whether they have filed that application to say they are starting that bid afresh to have Advocate Billy Downer removed. But let's take a listen to what Judge Bidkun said when he recused himself in January.
I have come to the conclusion, and it was not an easy decision, that I have to recuse myself from the trial. It is what the sound administration of justice, the requirements of the Constitution, and my conscience dictate. The integrity of the judicial process must be protected against any reasonable taint of suspicion, so that the public and litigants may have the highest confidence in the integrity and fairness of our courts. The trial will therefore have to continue before another judge.
And Siphamandla, do we know the state in terms of the former president's health he is in ahead of this appearance tomorrow?
Based on his latest public engagements, even though we are not medical doctors, but we would say he is most certainly likely to attend tomorrow's proceedings. In fact, he has to attend tomorrow's proceedings because this is a new judge who is presiding over his matter, so he has to be physically present in court. There is no indication that he will not be present in court. I assume that his legal team would have briefed him as their client that he is required to be physically present in court so that he will get the latest developments and the latest indication and direction from the judge as to how his matter will proceed moving forward. So based on his latest public activities, particularly as the provincial chairperson of SANCO in KwaZulu-Natal, he's been very busy lately addressing gatherings, giving an indication that he is fit to undertake those public gatherings and addresses. Therefore, the indication and the expectation would be that he will attend tomorrow unless there is a letter from the doctors saying he's unfit to do so. At this stage, we do not know of such a letter. We do understand that he's expected to appear tomorrow, but with courts you may never know. Anything could be placed before a court of law or before the judge. So it's entirely up to him and his legal team concerning the issue of his health status. We will hear from him and his legal team as to whether he's physically and medically fit to come to court tomorrow, but he is expected to attend.
And Siphamandla, what would be the ideal outcome for the former president and his legal team during proceedings tomorrow?
I guess both parties are realistic in a sense that you are quite far from getting underway with this trial. The ideal outcome for both parties, even though we certainly can tell that one party could be disappointed because technically speaking the state has said that they are ready to proceed with this trial. The former president too has said on court papers and on record that he's ready to proceed with this trial, but he is exhausting all the legal recourse that is available to him, because remember the issue of the appeals that he's been heavily criticized for, it is provided for in the law. Legal recourse allows him to appeal any decision that he's unhappy with. Take for instance the issue of the special plea. When his application was dismissed by Judge Bidkun, he had to appeal all the way to the Concord, and then that was dismissed. But even Judge Bidkun himself, when he was presiding over this matter, when the state raised concerns about delays, alleging that the former president is responsible for the delays, Judge Bidkun told the state that, well, you cannot come here and blame an accused person for exercising his rights to appeal. If you are not happy with the legal recourse, then lawmakers need to change the law, because it's provided for in the law to say any accused person can appeal. So tomorrow we expect that the former president's legal team will update the court on their decision and their intention to bring a fresh application to have Billy Downer removed, because they are expected to argue that now is an accused person in another matter whereby their client is privately prosecuting him. Should then the judge decide to listen to that application, of which we expect that the state will vehemently oppose that, as they have done in the past, and the state has said that, listen, prosecutions has been very clear to say that Advocate Billy Downer is better placed and suited to prosecute this matter. So the likelihood is that tomorrow, if the former president's legal team brings that application to say he must be removed because now there are new developments, he is an accused person in another matter, they will oppose that, and then it's up to the judge then to decide what happens. If the judge decides to listen to that, and he will have to issue a judgment or hand down a judgment moving forward, what happens, and that could mean there will be further delays, because even for him, when he listens to that, he will need time to make up his mind and issue or hand down a judgment, which will simply mean that there has to be a postponement. So tomorrow, the likelihood is that there will definitely be a postponement. As to for how long, that is the question that will be answered by the judge, depending on what is placed on record, what is submitted, what application is made, and what the state's attitude is, what the defense attitude is. But remember, these two parties are not seeing eye to eye here. There's some sort of hostility and tension between both of them. So it doesn't matter what the judge says. We all know that both parties will basically be putting forward their arguments, and at the end of the day, it's up to the judge whether this matter is adjourned and for how long. But tomorrow, you will not be seeing a first state witness, or rather the first witness taken to the witness box. It's not going to be happening.
That's our senior reporter, Siphamandla Goge, outside court in Pietermaritzburg.